Recording is on.
Brilliant. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to today's Tea Time training. Today we have Sarper and Thorsten, and they'll be talking about the new Collabora Office on Linux. Also, just a reminder that this session is being recorded and it will be available on our YouTube channel. Over to you, Sarper and Thorsten.
Hey, hello everyone.
Hi, how are you doing?
So today we're going to talk a little bit about what some of us have been doing for a while, which is the Collabora desktop and let's say in the new clothes, which is the essentially the online JavaScript running on the desktop. And you see that already here in the background running. So I just started my development build here. So I will start with a very, very short overview. And then, Sarper, what are you talking about today?
I will try to go through the build steps, some details of the current implementation, give some kind of an overview. And finally, I'm pretty sure we are going to have a really nice Q&A at the end. I'm expecting some good questions on the topic, some hard ones.
Yes, keep them coming. Okay, so without further ado, let's get going. So this is the overall view is of course like across all platforms. Focus today is going to be on the Linux port. That's going to be then on Sarper. Very quickly. So what is this? This is the familiar UI that that you know from both online and from the mobile versions of Collabora in a desktop version. Desktop doesn't mean running in your browser, but running as a native application on your desktop. So that means like really nice desktop integration, distributed via the usual modern means, usually the app stores, Apple Store, Windows Store, Flatpak. And nicely integrated in the respective desktop environment or platform. There's some nice screenshots here, so they all look slightly different. Let's say the decoration, the windows, there's some multi-tab interface for Mac. There's something kind of coming in the pipeline for Linux. Windows looks different, obviously, because they're different platforms and we want to blend in there. There's some nice welcome slideshows. So if you start that for the first time, you get a bit of an overview of what that is, nicely showcasing the WebGL slideshow that is also running here. And a little bit different, let's say, from classic Collabora desktop in terms of how not just how the UI looks, obviously, but also like how the workflows are from creating new documents, opening a template, more of that in a moment. So for example, for Mac, you get this kind of like you double click the application, you get this kind of select what I want to do today, what kind of application or what kind of document type I want to work with. But except from that, it's really exactly the same user interface, and it's even exactly the same code that's running there as it's running for online in the browser. Right. So perhaps just to kind of kick this off, why bother? Well, first and foremost, this is a familiar experience, so there's no need to learn new UI. There's no need to learn new keyboard shortcuts. There's no need to adjust your muscle memory depending on whether you want to collaborate in an online session or whether you want to work on a mobile device or on your desktop system. And of course, as it happens, we already have been shipping that for a while. So for Chrome OS, for example, you could install the Android version, and you could also install the iPad version on Apple on Macs if you knew how to do that. So it's mostly like just completing what was already there, at least in the wings. So yeah, so that's the Chrome OS version. The other thing beyond this familiar UI thing is the fact that actually by looking at some statistics, it turns out that most of what we see there is a single user. So more than 90% of the usage patterns, like if you look at a rather large sample of document use, is one user. Of course, even more is 0 users, but then again, that's even easier. You don't need an Office suite for that. But so getting something that runs locally and takes the load off the server for this very, very frequent case across all devices sounded like quite a useful idea. So those were essentially the two triggers. And then, of course, there are some wins there because we get much nicer, much better system integration. One of my personal pet peeves has always been Clipboard. Clipboard in a browser is a disaster. It's quite lossy. It's not been designed for complex document types. There's always something that isn't working. There's some data type or some specialties that's lost. You essentially have to pipe this through HTML or plain text or some image formats. And if there's something more complex, then yeah. So since we're running natively, and more of that than from Sarper, we can use all those operating system. We can punch through essentially. What we use usually that was the browser wall, and we couldn't go further. But when there was no browser API, we couldn't do much, if anything. Now we can simply punch through that, go directly to the operating system, and do what's needed and what's nice and what's usable. And here's a list of things for that. Right. And I say that hopefully sets the stage for how actually we pulled this off. And that's then over to Sarper.
All right. Now let me dogfood this and actually present it on the desktop app. And that seems to be working so far. So good. All right. So let's talk about the implementation bits and how this came about. So for Linux, the whole story with these desktop apps, almost all of them, they work like the mobile apps for Android and iOS. So we basically, for Linux, have a Qt app that runs the cool WSD server in the background thread and does some additional management of the whole app. It serves the Collabora Online UI through Qt Web Engine and uses this QApp channel to just expose the JavaScript directly to the Qt app. So there's a direct connection, both-way connection using that. And the main thing that actually kickstarts everything is the fake socket. Fake socket is basically the connection between the Qt app directly to cool WSD server. If you go through how it actually does the initial kickstart, so the Qt app starts itself. It starts the cool WSD server in a thread and navigates, starts a Qt web view and navigates to this cool.html file, and that brings up the front end. When this when the Qt web view actually sends a request to cool WSD, then the initial hello message arrives into the Qt app. So now the Qt app knows there's an actual document connection, and it can start get things going. With that starting up, the Qt web channel also hooks up to the JavaScript code, and all the messages that get piped through actually ends up at the Qt app, and we basically release some of them back for the front end to handle itself, and some of them we basically intercept and do some additional stuff, like for instance, all the Uno comments, like Uno save, Uno open, also come through there, and we can do some custom native bits running on that. And for each web view, basically a single document broker runs, and that document broker with the ID, we can just use LibreOffice Kit to get the underlying document, and basically bypass the whole front end and web and get through to native. Just like Thorsten mentioned, like clipboard biz and stuff like that, we can just pipe through there. For the app, we want to keep it single instance. This allows it to be way faster opening other documents once the app is going. So for that, we use dbus for inter-process communication here. A Collabora Office service is registered, and then on subsequent runs, the QTAP basically checks if that service exists. If so, it redirects all the requests. If it wants to open a new file or just open an existing file to the already running code.qt instance here, and then that's how it gets stuff going. So we also use dbus additionally for some information queries. The good thing with dbus is it's also trivial to expose access to it over Flatpak. So this bot works when you run and like install it, when you build and install locally without using any kind of packaging and on the Flatpak. So we currently query stuff like username to show, make it show up at the comments. We query if the color scheme is dark mode to basically make the default. That this was not in the first release, but it's going to be in the next one. Thanks, Raj, for getting this in. Also, we, for instance, we also take the GNOME text scaling factor, because that's actually something of a quirky thing that doesn't actually change anything DPI related. So Qt by itself doesn't react to it. So we need to do a custom query for that, and watch out for if there's a GNOME text scaling factor, we change the zoom level on the web view itself, and that actually takes care of that. For file handling, we do something a bit different than online, than server itself. So col.la works on files that are on disk by default. So that's actually doing the same operation, to kind of have some kind of control over the files, and also for creating new files and stuff like that. We actually work on a temporary directory. When you work on an existing file, the file is copied to a temporary directory, and col.WSD is on autosave mode that basically fires in regular intervals. But also user can trigger a manual save at any point. Then using this bridge that we have, QTAP always modifies the modified status that is actually from core, that comes from core, and the uno save command, and basically hooking up to that, the app knows if the file was saved properly at any given time. If it was modified, it doesn't let you exit with data loss. And when there's an actual save command and it's successful, and it actually gets this file from the temporary path into the final path that the file should actually be. So there's a two-step save there currently. So yeah, why work on a temporary copy? The approach, at least without changing anything with col.WSC right now, is it works on files on disk. And if you want to create a new file, either then you would have to prompt the user for an select a path first and then operate on the file there. To avoid this, on a new file, it just starts with an empty document on a temporary directory. Then when the user actually saves the file, it's actually copied to the final directory. Yeah, and then this also lets us kind of get away with some very bare bones save as if the user actually changes the save path. For col.WSD, nothing changes. It keeps editing the temporary the file in the temporary directory, and the document broker identifier stays the same, but Qt can track now this file should be saved to another location and just handle that. Yep. So yeah, over this bridge, we try to do as much as native handling that we can, avoiding the hurdles of the browser APIs and limitations there. So right now, for instance, this goes through for exporting files. So we actually make core save as the document into a temporary directory again, and then checking the result of that file, and we copy over the resulting file to the whatever the user picked as the final destination. For clipboard handling, this is two-way. So there are three different messages that are not really intercepted, but communicated to Qt from JavaScript. These are clipboard read, clipboard write, clipboard set for the Linux app. And they basically, in the end, through these three commands, communication directly happens between the Qt's clipboard handling libraries and LibreOffice document, like so core access that we have over through LibreOffice Get using get clipboard and set clipboard. And this way, we can just take the stuff in the native clipboard and put it into basically right into the LibreOffice Kit and vice versa, and we can take it and put it into the native clipboard. So printing is one of these things as well. There are some plans maybe to improve this, but right now it's just a PDF export that then triggers a custom print dialog that lists all the printers you have, and you can optionally save it to a path. That's basically copying the PDF over. But yeah, there is some opportunities to actually improve this, exposing more of the print settings that we already have on core, because we have way more data now being natively run on the platform. All right, so that was the basic overview. Now, if you want to get your hands on it and build it, play with the recent thing. So the code is at branch right now, distro Collabora Coda 2504. It is not merged into the master yet. That's going to happen soon. That's in progress. I don't exactly know the timeline. So it requires what Collabora Online already requires to be installed, and on top of that, some Qt6 libraries. You just run auto again. You just run auto again, and then configure it with enable Qt app. That's the crucial part. And also, there is, for some platforms, it came up that you need to put this -fpic for making it properly work. I think at least for me on Fedora, that's already detected by default, and it's set in the configure script. But I don't know. That's something to look into. If that happens to you, don't miss out on the CXX flags at the end of the configure there. Then you make on the top directory. That's rather important. Right now, the Qt directory, the making in the Qt directory doesn't actually trigger the build of browser files. Then it's not going to work properly. So make sure you are on the top directory and execute make there. And how do you debug the thing? If you already configured with enable debug, and ideally, if you pair that with a debug enabled core build, you can just start. At least this is what I do. I start code.qt with GDB, and then source level debugging is already available for col.WSD core and code.qt bits. And just go ahead and debug it. And on the other side of things, how would you debug into the web view and the front end, the JavaScript bits? You can export this variable called Qt Web Engine Remote Debugging, and you give it a port, and then it basically lets you navigate to that port on your browser, giving you the developer tools there. It basically shows you a view of the currently displayed view at that port, and then you can inspect it with your browser's developer tools. And you can break on the JavaScript and do whatever you gotta do there. We right now package this app into Flatpak. This is how we release the thing as well. So the Flatpak's manifest lives under Qt Flatpak. To build it, you need to install these dependencies. You need KDE SDK, KDE platform, because those give you the Qt bits. And then Node 20 is required for making col.WSD run properly. And for the web engine, we also pull this Qt Web Engine base app that we also plug into the KDE SDK. And if you want to create the Flatpak yourself, you can use this command here. And basically, you provided a build directory where it's going to keep the files. And the manifest destination. Force clean is not necessary for the first one, but you need it on subsequent runs, so keep it there. Ccache, I'm not exactly sure how helpful that is, but I've been using it. I think by default it only has a 2 gig size Ccache. I don't know how much core is benefiting from that. But for Flatpak builds, when you do another build, it actually goes through the whole things very often. The cache hits, or maybe with the latest changes of having, I think now LibreOffice is not requiring to pull in the externals through basically a live connection in the script. I think we know now all of those are in the JSON manifest now as well. So probably core is cached way better then, so you can do faster iterations. But in overall, I'm keeping Ccache. And then you can also specify a repo. The repo would be a folder basically where it sets up a Flatpak repo for you that you can install the resulting Flatpak from. And preferably start a build with a clean repo, because right now it uses it doesn't use Git or Git version control to get the state of things. It uses relative path, this thing called in Flatpak dir, which is basically just copies over the directory and X on that. This is useful when we are building and when we are experimenting with Flatpak. But if you have some browser files already made, this might mess up the Flatpak build for you. So it's better to run it on a clean repo. In general, Flatpak packs core, similar to how org LibreOffice is packed. It packs POCO and lots of libs that are required. There is also ongoing effort for making node packages available there without having internet connection during the build step, and to make the whole build reproducible and ready for FlatHub. And it's also basically packs col.la and col.la, of course. And the binaries are in their app, and col.wst exists under share, col.wst and core is under Collabora Office, and then col.la binary is under app as well. Flatpak still uses debug for single instance and some desktop queries here. After generating the thing to debug or install it, you can use Flatpak install, then give a relative path to the repo, just give the path to the repo and name of the binary. If you want to debug the Flatpak, also install the debug variant of it that includes debugging symbols for everything that's packaged into the Flatpak manifest. And then you can run it with Flatpak run -devel, and with an entry command of shell, you can get a shell on that Flatpak's environment, and then go to and run gdb on the code.qt binary. That should give you source level debugging for all code.qt bits. But if you want some Qt, if you need to or want to debug some Qt bits, you can then also install the debug variants of all the basically prerequisites requirements that you installed for building the thing, and then you can also have source level debugging for those as well, right in the Flatpak. And there's lots of work still going on, lots of nice UI tweaks. I didn't really talk about the front end changes much. Maybe nice to just talk about it real quick here. So there's a custom file tab for the desktop app that looks quite nice, and Vivek was working on it, and now that file tab, we call it the backstage, will be available in a new form as a dashboard. This is coming soon, that you can see on the left. So instead of opening right into a text document or a spreadsheet, whatever, now you will have the ability to select what you actually want to create and open a file. Also, there is ongoing effort to have tabs for the Linux apps as well. So macOS already has this, but this is missing for the Linux version for now. And this is in progress. Let's see when it makes it into the branch. So that's all I had in mind. I'm hoping that you have lots of questions to actually cover the real details. And thank you for listening. Any questions?
Hi, Sarper. Thank you so much. Has anybody got any questions or comments? If not, I'll start to go through the list that's or put in.
I got a couple of questions, if I may. Well, the first of them is, since the Linux version isn't yet published on something like FlatHub, where can I get the debug version for the Flatpak, which you mentioned in your presentation? And the second question was, how feasible would it be to Collabora Online provides an iframe with some settings for the users. How feasible would it be to also embed it in Collabora Desktop as user settings? So yeah, those were my two questions.
Okay, so for the first question, right now we didn't publish any debug builds for the Flatpak packaging. I guess the only way to get them right now is to build the Flatpak yourself, and then it would actually generate the debug information with that. With regarding the iframe settings, I sadly do not know what it exactly is in the online. So what kind of so we have some kind of persistent settings that we already keep web for the web view related, like dark mode and stuff like that. That's already cached into whatever is cached into the local storage by normal. What does iframe really do there? Is it an access? Does it require online access by default, or what's the story there?
So basically, this iframe provides some settings like access to auto text, user dictionaries, some options like snap to grids that the user can use. So I was just wondering, how hard would it be to include it in a Collabora Desktop? Or if it's even desired?
Yeah, Tell I don't know the whole story there. Maybe someone that already worked in between those two could answer. But probably possible to do would be my answer. If it's required, I can't really form arguments on this right now.
Yeah, I don't think we've done anything there yet, but I think it could be doable. The iframe thing needs a new window, but the new window support has landed for the presentation console, so we can do a separate pop-up window, and then there is a kind of a fallback in col.WSD for providing settings for testing purposes. So I could imagine that we could provide the options in a window and back it up by converting the testing thing to a real thing. So I could see it working, yeah. But it's not done yet.
Thanks, Kevin. Yep.
Any other comments before I start to go through the list that I have? Okay, let's start. So I have Armin, Sahil, Stefan, and Miklos. Any questions?
Yeah, hi, Armin here. I have a question to the safe as, if I got it right, it's just exchanging the path where the result has to be saved at the end. But often save as is done to get a direct version saved to open it from another application or something, whatever. So save as should do a direct copying of the last or current ongoing save. Is it doing that, or do I have to wait until I close the document that it appears?
So it kind of does the direct copy when you do the save as, if I got the question right, or were you
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, it does. Okay.
But there's a catch with the save as right now, which is if you want to save to another format, we don't support saving as to another format. That would need reloading the thing. That's going to be implemented, but not there yet.
Ah, yeah. I see. Thanks.
Yeah.
Okay, next on the list I have Andras.
I would also have a question. Do I understand correctly that this is basically built on how we do mobile? So this means no separate key processes, no user namespaces. Everything is in a single process. Is that correct?
So, yep, everything is in a single process, just in different threads. Multiple documents in the same process is how that works. There was quite a bit of work on making multi-documents work as well. Yep.
And how does it feel from the debugging point of view? On one hand, having a single process is nicer than multiple processes, but in exchange now you got multiple threads. So how does that compare?
There are quite a bit of threads right now. That's one of the, I guess, catches. But relatively, I would assume it's easier to debug compared to having separate processes. Yeah, just making sense of the whole things is maybe a tiny bit easier.
Okay, thanks.
The threads all do have these nice names. So in GDB, at least, you see the threads with the names. So that gives you a bit of a clue for the 100 threads, which of them are cute ones, because that also spawns a lot of threads as well, and which of ones are from the cool server and so on. So, but yeah, tons of threads there indeed.
Brilliant, thank you. So next on my list, I have Andrash, Balash, Bonobi, Quailon. Any questions?
Yes, I have a comment. So I set up the weblet for this cute app. So it is possible to translate the 23 strings that it introduced for the print dialog or the file open dialog. So if you go to weblet, you can already translate it to your language. This is what I wanted to advertise here.
Thanks for that, Andrzej. That's awesome.
From myself, just for the earlier question about debugging, I think it's much easier to debug with everything in the one process. And unlike maybe earlier efforts, you're debugging in something that works instead of some kind of artificial thing. So it is actually quite nice to be able to get the stack traces, pause your browser side and have the server side and it pause at the same time. So it is kind of an interesting experience when you've struggled with the online version. So I think it could be useful that way. But otherwise, the question was, with some of these things, when you're trying to get started, you get absolutely nothing, and then you get everything working at the same time. So I'm just kind of wondering, what was the frustrating part of getting Coda to work? Is there a period where you have nothing working and then it's piece by piece things start to work, or was it big bang when you finally got everything in the right place?
Yep, I guess there was a couple of hurdles along the way. The initial thing was there was already a GTK app that kind of did have the concept going. Also, when I was chiming in with the Linux version, there was already some other Coda versions that I was looking up to. So maybe the first hurdle of getting the Big Bang working, I don't actually know the story to. But hopefully in the next weeks when Candy and Thor tells their part of the story, we can hear the real bit there. But one really hard to get right thing was for me the Flatpak, because the iteration times there were dire, and the Qt was somehow crashing on just getting the Qt web engine up and not even going full power at all. So yeah, just trying to debug that and like find the real culprit there was quite a bit of hassle. And there was some, usually the other two hurdles were, so we actually for making the multi-documents thing work, we had to kind of don't so separate so change the threading obviously of what col.wst already does, and that was ending that was making it end up with lots of different locks deadlocked here and there, and I was having lots of trouble with debugging that and getting that going properly. And then I got quite a bit of help from Stefan, and then Stefan actually completed those bits. Thanks for that. Yep.
Brilliant, thank you. Next people on my screen are Darshan, Gorkaya, Kartek, Mervin. Any questions, comments?
I have one, actually two. So you didn't use Qt cross-platform, if I understand correctly. I'm guessing just to benefit from native APIs when Qt could have at least help with cross-platform directly, having more code sharing across platforms. Is that correct?
Yes. Right now, Qt is only used on Linux, and yeah, so it's not cross-platform. Windows doesn't use Qt, and macOS doesn't use Qt. In turn, that also gives them a better integration chance, because comparatively, what needs to be done to have this wrapper going is just only the platform-specific bits, and Qt for most of the things that we are doing doesn't actually give them like out of the door to you, so Qt wouldn't resolve those problems. Then you would still have to have those native bindings working properly for each function that's going on, and yeah, and then you would also probably lose out on just making something that would work perfect on the platform, and trying to have this cross-platform thing morph into different shapes for each platform is harder.
And I have more of a comment. It's regarding I saw that you were implementing the GNOME font factor. I think it's called. What about the scale factor? I'm asking this because I'm noticing I'm using fractional scaling on my own screens, and I can see that whenever we have images that we need to raster, such as the preview of our header styles, we will need to apply some scale factor logic so that they don't look washed off by downscaling or upscaling. I can't remember the raster image. It's more of a comment. I think it could be another improvement.
Fair. Yep. For the raster images, there's a IDPI error. I think that also that is not specific to the desktop version, but there for Collabora Online in general. If I'm not sure, I'm not exactly sure about that. But yeah, in general, like this font scaling factor story was basically, if it's a fractional scaling system-wide, Qt Web Engine already handles that, is aware of that, so it shows it properly. But GNOME had this accessibility setting basically to upscale the font sizes, and all the GNOME apps do react to it properly, and browsers do react to it properly as well. But Qt Web Engine wasn't able to pick up on that, so we had to do some custom handling on that to make it work.
Thanks.
Brilliant. Any other comments before I go on to the next people on my screen?
Yeah, excuse me. Sarper, you said Qt is only used on Linux, but I thought the Qt browser engine is a central part of this collaboration and putting it all together. How does that fit together?
So basically, for every platform, so Qt Web Engine is only for Linux. For Windows, I think it uses whatever is available natively as the web viewer, and for macOS there's WebKit.
Okay, so on every system we have a different web engine, and all of this is working relatively the same.
Yep, exactly. So we use a different web engine. So for macOS and Windows, it makes the most sense to use the already available web engine there just to go with it.
So we are lucky is that all the web engines on the different systems have the same handling and output.
Well, it's quite standardized. I mean, I mean, we face that with online already on a daily basis. So
Yes.
we need to. So whatever we do in online, it needs to work on extremely large. Sometimes even, let's say, I think luckily we don't need to support Internet Explorer, the original one, anymore. But yeah, so you can imagine. So that's actually just having to support 3 different flavors. That's child's play compared to the challenge with the browser ecosystem there. So the idea was just to jump in there, that we really wanted to be as lightweight as possible, and we also, if at all possible, wanted to avoid something like Electron, where you need to ship essentially a browser, and then you also need to ship all the browser updates, which happens rather frequently because someone inevitably finds a security problem, and then Chromium gets an update, and you got to ship it all again, and it's like it adds up quite a lot if everyone ships their own copy. So it's both in terms of not having to care about that and track that, and also to be as lightweight as possible when we distribute. So we don't have this on Linux. You could claim with Flatpak that we do ship a copy, but at least Flatpak, and I guess Snap as well, can share base layers. So if lots of Flatpak applications use that same base layer, it gets shared and not getting, let's say, installed multiple times.
Yeah, good arguments. So theoretically, we could get system-specific errors for that stuff.
Yep, and I think we had already foreseen that, and at least on GitHub, there's different labels for the issues. So you can say it's only happening on, because obviously, I mean, we have this some WebGL fringe problems or some Wayland issues with Qt, which are platform specific.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks.
Brilliant. Next on my screen, I have Mohit, Michael Stahl, Parth, Pranam, and Richard. Any questions?
No questions, thank you.
No questions from me either.
Brilliant. And the last people that I have is Justin, Attila, Vivek. Any questions?
Thank you, no questions.
Thank you, sir.
Brilliant. Okay. So any other...
So Hussein just raised hand.
Yes, please do participate.
Yes. So the question that I had is related to Mac OS. So as far as I know, LibreOffice Kit has issues there. So do you use some other ways to handle that problems?
Yeah, similar to what I told earlier, I don't really know the whole story about macOS and the Windows versions. So
there's going to be a talk, I think, next week by Candy. So we have this next week, I think, for the Mac, and then in 2 weeks the Windows ports, which so each and every port has a relatively small native layer. So that is, but of course the LibreOffice core needed porting. So for both Windows and Mac, there's changes in the core so that we get this headless mode properly working, and they're being upstreamed as we speak.
Yeah, I was just going to say that for Kindi, for the Mac port at least, maybe it's true on the Windows one, it's the Cairo-backed headless SVP support that it now exists on Mac So that's the new piece there.
Yep, and the same for Windows 2. To get Cairo and font config and free tab working on Windows was one early part of this.
So can I assume that the problems are fixed upstream, or is it something else?
They are still in this branch, but we are upstreaming them one by one.
Great, thanks.
Yeah, that's all going to be in core. No worries.
Brilliant. So is there any other comments or questions at all? No, it doesn't look like it. So thank you, Sarper and Thorsten, for giving the T-Tide training today. And we'll see you all again next week. Thank you.
Thank you. Looking forward. Take care.
Thank
Bye.
you, Andrew.
Thanks all for joining. Bye.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.